Well, it happened, Cory.
Hi, Jake. Well, we knew it was just a matter of time. Dude, there is just when 2020 couldn't get any more 2020-ish, here we are.
There's a lot to unpack. I feel like we could spend a whole hour on the topic that we're probably going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, dude. If there's no other, there's only two reasons for me to be here today. And one, you've already let me down on, and two is this particular topic. The only two reasons why I'm here today.
What's the first reason?
I'm not going to mention the first because you'll edit it out of the show. But dude,
I won't.
We knew
it's something sexual with me.
Of course it is.
Cory doesn't care about consent with me.
No, there's no such thing. But we are definitely amped up today for this particular episode. I think I sent you a text message yesterday, the day before we're taping this episode, and I says, dude, I've got a rager for tomorrow's show. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy because of the circumstances. And this is a huge, huge front sale. But man, this is crazy. This is absolute crazy. And I can't wait to go from the beginning to the probable end with you on today's episode, man. And that was not a euphemism. I mean, that wasn't a euphemism. I'm not foreshadowing. I just realized how I said that.
If you haven't figured out what we're talking about or looked at the fucking title of this episode, Trump has COVID. Roll the intro music.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That is Cory. What is up, Cory? All right. Let me start this off by saying, we here at Lonercast, we would never wish harm upon anyone.
You can't, okay, Jake, you can't start that and then start laughing through it because all sincerity is just shot to hell when you do that.
No. we would never ever do that. But let's be frank about Trump here for a minute. Yeah. Let's be frank about Trump here for a minute, okay? This dude did this to himself. This is a self-inflicted injury. This is funny because it's like watching someone, it's like someone, walking and stepping on a rake. That's why this is funny, because Trump is such a fucking idiot. This would, you know what? I have some stats here. Let me just pull them up here.
Yes, please.
I have a little list here. Okay, now this is just super interesting. I don't even think this is fully up to date, but this is a list of senators who have tested for COVID, and I want to know if you notice a little trend here, okay?
Sure.
Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin. Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican. Senator Shelley Capito, Republican. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican. Senator Lamar Alexander, Republican. Senator Mike Lee, Republican. Senator Rand Paul, Republican. Senator Mitt Romney, Republican. Okay, now these are just some of the people who have had to enter quarantine. That was every senator who's had to enter quarantine.
Those are senators in quarantine, not people that have tested positive for coronavirus.
Correct.
Because I don't think Mitt Romney, I haven't read anything.
These are people who have had to enter quarantine due to suspicion of having COVID.
Or being exposed to COVID via the president. or just under suspicion?
Well, if you want just
there's a
positives.
there's a list of that too.
I've got that too. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican. Senator Mike Lee, Republican. Senator Tom Tillis, Republican. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican. Senator Rand Paul, Republican. Representative Jahana Hayes, Democrat. Representative Jennifer Gonzalez, Republican. Representative Dan Muser, Republican. I mean, I think you get the idea here.
I get the idea that there's a lot of Republicans that have come down to us. Now, the interesting thing is, Jake, is there was a lot of those ones that are in quarantine, and the news media has been very, very specific about breaking down the difference between going into quarantine and going into isolation. They've been really, really specific about that. Why? I don't know. The root of it is to separate.
It's to say, the amount of people going into quarantine, these are not every one of those people going into quarantine got coronavirus.
Right.
But okay. Take that away though. And I did do that and I took it away. And the numbers I listed were still pretty damning. It's
still staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And you hit me to this moments after it broke that because I was on the air when the tweet was sent out Thursday night. I was on the air on my other show. So I wasn't totally fully engaged in social media at the moment other than what was going on my show. And I see the message from you and it's the link to Donald Trump's Twitter and him admitting that him and Melania have tested positive. I am literally approaching this with mixed feelings because a part of me, Jake, the human part of me never wants to see another human suffer. But in this particular situation, I am struggling with the fact of trying to find that humanistic side of me when it comes to his diagnosis. It's almost the equivalent of seeing someone that is your arch enemy, seeing their eyebrows catch on fire and you holding a bucket of water. So a part of me, you want to see your arch enemy go down, but the human part of you is like, that is another human being. And I am struggling to find that correlation in this situation because of so much malice and discord and anger and hate that has been projected from this individual. I literally ask myself, Jake, what century are we in? Is the only way we're going to get from under Rump's rule is by death? Is that the only way we're going to be able to get rid of him?
Well, I think we need to make it clear that it's not like, someone assassinated Trump or something. And Trump is not dead, by the way. But he does have coronavirus and he does have all the symptoms that make it really bad, being over the age of 70.
Being fat.
And being overweight.
He's not dead at the time of the recording of this show.
Yeah, true. Normally I don't mention it, but we are recording this on Saturday and it posts on Monday, so who knows what happens. I've got this quote here, though. This is from Representative Ilhan Omar. As someone who lost my father to this virus and seen the pain it causes, I do not wish it on anyone. And it goes on to say, over 200,000 people have now died while this administration actively ignores public health guidance and suppresses science. For months, we have been hoping for a simple acknowledgement from the president to hear the words, "We will get through this together." And now we only hear those words when it is about him, not the hundreds of thousands of people who have lost their lives and the millions whose families have been touched by it because of his malfeasance. That word's too big for me, Cory.
That's a big word, and if I don't see it, I don't know.
Their cruelty is a direct threat to my constituents. This week, the president held a rally and fundraiser in Minnesota, flouting the guidance of his own health agencies by failing to wear a mask. In doing so, he exposed hundreds in a state that is already suffering from an uptick in cases. Republican members of our congressional delegation traveled with him on Air Force One and have not quarantined. In fact, they came to the Capitol today, risking the lives of additional elected leaders and staff. The President of the United States and Republicans in Minnesota are actively spreading a deadly virus. They are a risk to the public health of my constituents and our country.
That is so true. There is also social media is blowing up all over this. I've quoted him before on the show, and I'll quote him again. Ben Glebe, comedian Ben Glebe, posted up a image of Trump 10 days before him testing positive for coronavirus, where Trump said, quote, "It affects virtually nobody." So we are in the throes or in the battle. Well, at least I am the battle mentally of finding compassion in this moment. And honestly, I've struggled and I continue to struggle to find compassion in this moment. And the Biden campaign came out on social media and said, now that he has this, we're going to stop all of our slanderous attack ads on Trump. The Trump administration, the Trump campaign said they will not do the same. So even while their master is possibly clinging to life in a military hospital right now, the goons are still carrying out the narrative.
Yep. Well,
unbelievable.
So this happened on Thursday,
October 1st.
So, and it happened at like 2 in the fucking morning. It was posted online. He posted a tweet. And, you know, Biden came out the next day and, you know, very poignant, you know, very, very well done. You know, I think it was the right move for him to say, you know, this is not a political issue. You know, I hope the best for Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. You know, I hope the best for them. Well, deep down in my soul, I wish he would have just been like, this is your fault. You did this. Like, I wish he would double down, but okay, you know, take a step back, you know, let's, you know, he's the president. We hope the best. We don't want you to get hurt. But then today, he said, we're pulling down the attack ads. Now, that's a bridge too far, because the election doesn't stop just because Trump has coronavirus. In fact, it's totally fair that he has coronavirus because, like I stated earlier, this is 100% his fucking fault. It's because he has these rallies. It's because he goes to these big events. He talked about it at the debate where he made fun of Joe Biden for wearing a big ass mask. He made fun of Joe Biden for having small events.
You know what?
It goes back Donald Trump's fault.
It goes back to what you had said about the Democrat Party, where you wish that they would grow some balls and be a little bit more fiery, a little bit more feisty. And
they obviously can't say, "Oh, we hope you die, Trump." But you know, the Republicans, if this happened to Biden, Trump would have been like, "He's not fit for president."
Yeah, 100%.
Can't even avoid. He can't even avoid. Yeah.
And then I was even thinking about what you asked me. How is he going to spin this if he comes out of this on the other end of it? Now, let me tell you this. This is what some of the medical experts have been saying on the media, is that Trump has a 17% succession rate of beating this thing. he has an 83% possibility of succumbing to it because of his age, because of his weight, and because of his pre-existing condition for having a mild heart condition. Those 3 strikes are against him, which put him in the 83 percentile of succumbing to it. 83% of people that have those 3 situations in their life, old, fat, heart, don't survive this thing. So he has a 17% chance of surviving this thing. When you look,
those are just the things we know about him too. He could be like diabetic.
Very true. And this is not something that is new. Throughout history, the health of presidents and presidents falling sick in office has always been hidden. They always hide that. We've had a president that has had a heart attack in office. We've had presidents that have had a stroke. And I can't remember exactly what president it was that had a stroke, but I believe that the media was told that, oh, he had too much pepper in his food that night, and that's what's wrong with him. I mean, even with this situation, less than 24 hours after him tweeting that they tested positive for the coronavirus, he was given oxygen. And we just learned about that 2 days after the fact, that he was actually he was given oxygen in the White House. Now, what's really interesting, Jake, is that the White House, and I learned this from Buzz Burbank, who has his own podcast that I listen to. Buzz Burbank shared the fact that the White House literally has everything in the free world inside. It has a very high-tech medical center in the White House. For him to go from the White House to Walter Reed Medical Center means that there is a little bit more concern there that we're not getting in the media right now.
Well, I am suspect of it. This is what I think happened. I think they took him to the hospital preemptively, so that way when he's walking to the helicopter, getting transported there, the pictures that are taken are of him walking there, not being rolled out either on a stretcher, in a wheelchair, or whatever. I think that's literally why they did it. It's a preemptive thing so if he does fall super ill, then he doesn't have to be seen that way, because, Trump's whole image is that he's strong. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I have heard that I've heard so many. I don't want to speculate on how severe his condition is right now, because I have heard several different sources say several different things. I've heard people say, it's really bad, to, his administration is saying it's very mild. And then I've also heard that he has a slight breathing issue and severe fatigue, which, is you're totally able to overcome that. I don't want to make any speculations about where his health is, but what do you think happens? Now let's look at it from every angle, since we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to recover in 2 weeks. We don't know if he's going to recover in 2 months. We don't know if he's going to die. Those are just kind of the outcomes.
Those are the outcomes, but in the statistical mindset, Jake, we have to, the only way, because we don't know, the only way that we can look at it is from a statistical standpoint. And from a statistical standpoint, he's 83% doomed.
But let's be honest, from a statistical standpoint, yes, but he's also the president of the United States, who will have the best possible care available.
Yeah, but there's nothing that best possible care can do. It's just, and this is coming from another fat guy. There's only so much the best, you can have the best care, but they can't change his age. They can't change his weight.
Sure. But those those numbers are skewed just because our healthcare sucks.
Yeah, of course, everything is skewed.
You know that.
Yeah.
But what do you think happens, to the election? I don't know. Now, I don't know what would happen if Trump dies. I guess it's just Pence then. It's just Pence v. Biden.
Well, yeah, the Constitution is clear about what happens when a president is unfit due to health issues. It's very clear on what happens is that Pence gets sworn in, and then this becomes a.
Do you think Trump will try to skew this in his favor if he does recover, as like we should do a re-election or
I don't know. And here's the thing. His goons are still out there campaigning. Pence,
I know.
They just announced today that Pence is going to come to Arizona the same day that Biden and Harris will be making their first appearances here in Arizona. So the goons are still out there campaigning. They're still out there doing what, he's most likely commanding to do. If he does come out on the other side of this, Jake, you asked me the question before we even started the show. How does he spin this? And I honestly don't know how it will take a very sadistic, mental disturbed individual to find a way. I will say this though, Jake, that video that he released before he walked to the helicopter that he released on Twitter or wherever it was, that was the first time I believe we saw a human in that body. We saw vulnerability in that man. We saw fear that was riddled throughout his face, where it almost seems like in that moment, when that test came back and said you're positive, in that moment, you would think, one would hope that that's when reality smacked him in his orange face, where you realize that now Dr. Fauci is walking around drinking a nice cold cup of "I told you so" 19. It was in that video, that man was scared.
I have no idea how he would pivot this, how he would change the outlook on it. I have no idea. I mean, to me, but like his supporters are still out there sucking his fat cock.
This is honestly what I think it will be if he beats this. He beats this, and let's say that he beats this after the election and he loses the election and Biden is presumed the winner. Before the transfer of power, which he's already said he is going to challenge, before the transfer of power, he will sit there and deny the outcome of the election, and they will force it to go to the Supreme Court. He's going to force it to go to the Supreme Court. That's why his goons now are trying to fast track that Supreme Court justice in, because it tips the scales to the Republican side.
Yeah, and after everything that's happened right now, I don't think it's going to happen.
There has to be on at the end of this election, there has to be an overwhelming majority vote for Trump. I mean, there has to be absolutely no margin between the two. It can't be slim. It can't be narrow. It has to be wide. It has to be Mississippi River wide in order for there to be no shadow of a doubt, no inkling of doubt that he could have won this election. It has to be that far. I mean, we're talking dude, huge. And if it's a close race, we're fucked.
I don't know about that. But I don't know if they're going to get their Supreme Court justice in with everything going on now. I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, half of the senators now, half of the Republican senators now have COVID, so they're all at home anyway.
It's not going to stop them from. It's not going to stop them from voting and confirming her. They're going to do it virtually.
I mean, it does if they die, and that would really be something, wouldn't it? If all these Republican politicians die and we re-elect a bunch of Democrats in.
Well, it comes back to the point that I made earlier.
The poetic justice of that
is the only way we can get from under this dictatorship is by death. That's what things that happened in the 1800s, the 1700s. The only way to unseat an emperor, a dictator, was by death.
Yeah, There are some questions about the legitimacy of his COVID-19 test.
That is true.
I've heard this from a few different crazy people online saying he's faking it, and one of the reasons people will say he's faking it is sympathy vote, and then when he gets over it in 2 weeks, he can say how strong he is, blah blah blah. Other people are saying he's doing it because he knows he can't win and he just wants to bow out, but he still wants to look strong. So if he has COVID, he knows he'll lose and he can bow out with dignity, even though that's not really dignified. But I think that's bullshit. I think the dude just like legitimately has COVID.
Well, here's the thing though, Jake. You think about everything that he has done. Think about everything he has done. In any other situation, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, there's no way that he's doing this. But dude, what would stop him from taking this to that depths of despair at this point? What would stop him?
Nothing would stop him, but I just don't think it's not a smart play at all, because it doesn't look good on him at all.
Okay, neither did it look good on him when he refused to denounce white supremacy. What would stop this man from faking the coronavirus?
Well, because this is different. This proves that the coronavirus is real to his millions of followers who believe it isn't. This shows that wearing a mask works because Joe Biden did not catch it, and now everyone's looking at the other politicians who've gotten it, who are all Republican politicians. I think this really exposes, and it brings attention, well, because the attention was starting to slip away from coronavirus. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Slipping away from coronavirus to other things that are important, you know. But this immediately brought it back to coronavirus. And there's no way to look at coronavirus and not be like, Trump has it wrong. I don't think Trump would want to bring focus to coronavirus.
Well, I hear your point. And let me counterpoint. You're saying that if he fakes this, it would bring some legitimacy to the coronavirus when his followers believe that there is no legitimacy to it. But whose followers do give it legitimacy? Biden's followers. So maybe if he sunk to this depth, he sunk to this depth for the purpose of garnering the attention of the people that do give it legitimacy, because he is looking at the polls. What I'm saying is that, Jake, up to this point, over the last 3.5 years, there is clearly nothing this man will do, nothing this man won't do to try and win. So people that I understand you challenging it, and I know it's the lowest of the lowest, and everything you're saying about him faking this gives it legitimacy. But dude, this guy is capable of anything at this point.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't think that he's faking it. I honestly believe that he does have it, but just running the thought process through my head, him faking it in this late hour, less than 30 days before the election, him faking it would be a move that would be strategic for his benefit.
Yeah, I just don't. I agree with you, like, in the fact that I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that. I just don't think he's doing that for a number of reasons. Number one was after he did the tweet that he had COVID, it was 20 hours before he did another tweet. And if you know anything about Trump, that man tweets constantly.
All the time.
And if it was some sort of ploy, you know, it would have been like, I got coronavirus, you know, it's not that bad. I'm doing fine. These Dems are stupid or something.
And he even like said in that video, I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that right there, he's scared, bro. This dude is scared. And I'm
well, let's take it back a few weeks, right? Or not a few weeks, a few days rather. So we had the debates that happened just a few days before this, and it just came. Chris Wallace, the mediator there, the comptroller.
That's a great word.
It is. I don't know why they don't say it more. But yeah, Chris Wallace admitted that Trump showed up late and did not take a coronavirus test.
Showed up for the purposes of just having to be rushed in for the broadcast time, which means that they had to bypass the coronavirus. That's what I read.
So they went by the honor system. That's what Chris Wallace said. He showed up late, and they had to go by the honor system. So Trump could have had this all the way back then, all the way being 2 days before.
2 days before.
But which is likely, and that's likely, but not only likely, he probably knew he had it already too.
Oh yeah, because the thing is with the virus, and this has been all of the medical experts have said, that the time they're actually time stamping the projected date of when he contracted it was during the Rose Garden announcement of his Supreme Court nominee. So they're tracking it back to the Saturday before the Tuesday debates. The reason why is because when you contract the coronavirus, and this has been proven without amongst medical professionals, that you can have it for about 5 to 7 days before you get a positive test. It's the same thing that we are experiencing with some NFL players right now. They tested negative 3 days ago, and then they were testing positive now. So he could have very well had it or contracted it by projections all the way back to that Rose Garden ceremony. And he was standing up on that stage, spitting and conjecturing that whole time during that debate. And luckily, Biden was far enough away and Chris Wallace was far enough away as well.
Both of them have tested negative as well.
So far, but they've got to continue to get those tests because that shit can lay in your body for 5 to 7 days before it's even detected.
Yeah, well, it's been we're at the 5-day mark now.
We're at the 5-day mark from we're not at the 5-day mark from the debate though. The debate 5-day mark is tomorrow, Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. Well, that would be the 7-day mark.
Oh yeah, well, 5 to 7 days, I believe. And then some experts, some doctors, local doctors here in Arizona, have said up to 14 days after you're exposed.
Well, and Biden said, dude, Biden, I think, has been very poignant. I feel like he should go harder on Trump. But I think what he's saying is right. He went in to say, it's not, I have the luxury of having tests all the time. Trump has the luxury of having tests all the time. This should be mandatory or given out to everyone, to the grocery store workers, and like that's what he's saying. Like,
oh yeah,
he is pivoting this to being like, I've been taking coronavirus seriously this whole time. He's doing a good job. I wish he would just go harder in on Trump. I think his fear is that Trump will die and it'll look bad, him shitting on Trump.
And you know what? And that's the question though, Jake. That's the question right now. Let's say that he does succumb to this. Let's look at that scenario. He does succumb to this. How can you not? After everything someone has done, no one celebrated any other dictator's death. No one mourned any other horrible political leadership.
The problem is he's not a full-blown dictator, first of all. Second of all, and I think if he won again, he probably would have been. Now I think this puts a nail in the coffin of his entire presidential run, though. I really do. But also, I think if he dies of this, at least before the election, his followers are so smooth-brained, Cory. These people are...
They're going to make him a martyr?
Yeah, they'll make him a martyr. They'll say, Biden shouldn't be president because, Biden will beat Pence. Like, Pence wouldn't stand a chance.
No chance.
And the number one reason Pence wouldn't stand a chance is because, you know, Trump is a cult of personality. Like, people like Trump for Trump.
And
not
Pence
for his
has
policies.
been Trump's lapdog this entire time. He has.
Where has Pence been? I don't even know.
And here's, dude, do you see the irony of this fucked up situation, though? Pence is the leader of the coronavirus task force. So the guy who was supposedly protected everyone from this thing got his own master sick. Literally, I mean, come on. You can't, dude, there are writers in Hollywood that would never be able to write this type of reality TV show if they tried. I mean, my God, the guy that's supposed to be the leader of protecting and doing such an amazing job of protecting people from the coronavirus, his boss ends up getting it? Dude, you can't. What?
So here's the fucked up like, just to bring it back to you know, Trump probably knowing that he had it during the debates. The really fucked up thing is he came strolling out, no mask on, his entire family, no mask on. The only person wearing a mask was Melania. Came, you know, trying to get all close to Biden at one point. Like, it's really fucked. But then on top of that, the next day, he had a rally in Minnesota that he went to, and he did this rally, and most of the people there not wearing masks. I would say 15 of like the 100 people that I saw from a picture that I saw were wearing masks.
Yeah, his rallies have been notorious for people not having masks.
He's not encouraging people to wear masks.
Never has.
You know, and sure, his whole platform is like people should have the freedom to not wear a mask. But shouldn't you still encourage wearing a mask if that is your position?
He never has.
I know.
He never will. They forced him to wear one.
And then the Republicans have the goal to say that the Democrats are the one making this political. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you see why I'm struggling with finding any level of compassion with this? Dude, I can't tell you how many times I had to ask the Almighty God for forgiveness for a thought that entered my mind. It is so hard to find any level of compassion when you just see the fact, like you said, you brought this upon yourself. This is no one's fault but your own. You bucked the system and the system bucked you back. You never wanted to wear a mask. You've called it fake. You called it a hoax by the Democrats. You called it that it would virtually not affect anybody. And now here you are, possibly laid up in the hospital, clinging to what little life you have left.
Well, and let's clarify here. We don't wish harm on anyone.
But in this, Jake, be serious. In this moment, how is it not? How can you not?
Oh, hold on, Cory.
Sorry.
We're doing a podcast here. We don't wish harm on anyone. But Trump is the reason that 200,000 people have died. I want to start a petition. You know how Trump calls it the China virus? I think we start calling it the Trump virus. You know, in honor of him. It's the Trump virus now. Because this exists here in America the way it does because of Donald J. Trump. This is absolutely his fault, and the fact that he caught it, I'm sorry, I can't feel sympathy. I don't wish harm on anyone, but I don't feel sympathy for this man.
If we call it the Trump virus, he'll copyright it and charge everybody to be able to utilize the phrase Trump virus.
Yeah, not if he's dead.
The thing is, dude, it is very difficult to find sympathy. It is very difficult because everything that he has done up to this point has not been good. No one mourned the loss of Osama bin Laden. You didn't see anybody in ISIS mourning Osama when he was captured and ultimately killed and thrown out to sea. You didn't see anybody mourning that. You know, and the thing is that when we lose a president, and it's been a very long time since we've lost a sitting president, you know, we have to go through the motions. We have to go through the processes of, you know, him laying in state and stuff like that. But it's so challenging to not sit here and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening that feel the same way. It is hard to sit here and not think the thoughts of that you brought this upon yourself and you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, we all hope that Donald Trump, you know, does well. I hope a full recovery so he can go hang out on Epstein's Island again. I saw. So this all started the day, or maybe it was a day or two after the debates. Hope Hicks, who was the White House communications director, tested positive for COVID, which now they're releasing reports saying they tried to keep that a secret super hard, but they were unable to. But Hope Hicks tested positive for coronavirus. Hope Hicks spends a lot of time on the plane with Trump, and probably the reason Trump caught it as well.
I believe she was also at that Rose Garden ceremony for the Supreme Court nominee.
And at this point, 11 of Trump's GOP officials have tested positive for coronavirus, one of those being Chris Christie as well. Now
that one is tremendously scary, because I looked at this and I literally just brought it up on the Twitter. Chris Christie is not only obese, he's morbidly obese, suffers from asthma.
Oof. Dude, I mean, like, let's be honest, like, Trump lies about his weight. He says he weighs about 230. Trump is morbidly obese too. Like, he is. With that fat ass. God damn.
Now look, I've liked former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie. But oh man, this guy got it. This guy getting it is the equivalent of me getting it. Now, if Chris Christie comes out on the other side of this, well, I think I'm going to relax a little bit of my COVID precautions, because if Chris Christie is going to survive this, then that means anybody can survive it at this point.
Well, that's the thing, Cory. And this is why I kind of feel like Trump will pull out of this. You know, bad things don't happen to bad people.
That's true. My grandmother used to say that stubborn people live forever.
Here's a little funny article I found, though. Tom Arnold shares Hope Hicks' cell phone number after she tests positive for coronavirus.
Oh, wow. The hell, Tom?
Oh, man, that's pretty hardcore.
And this was messed up. Just breaking news, within the last hour, the U.S. recorded its highest single day increase of COVID-19 infections since mid-August, according to the JHU data. Dude, I'm struggling, Jake. I'm struggling with thoughts on
everyone was starting to lax up on it a bit too.
Yeah, everybody was, because they see the numbers
it for everyone.
Yeah, here in Arizona, our positivity rate is down under 4%, and people are kind of kicking up their heels. Even after that news broke, I kid you not, Jake, my phone with no less than 4 messages via direct text, Instagram, or Twitter. People hit me up saying, "Hey, Cory, I know you've been quarantining down. Now that the numbers are down, you want to go grab something to eat? You want to catch up?" No, this ain't over yet.
Nope.
This is far from over. And you're right, Jake. It's brought back a spotlight. And I heard another columnist say this. It has brought back a spotlight on the one thing that Rump has tried to not spotlight, and that's the coronavirus. His own mishandling of this has now affected him. His own mishandling. And there's no way that you can't argue that. And that's the sad thing. We don't wish this upon anybody. You don't wish harm upon anyone that you love and you care about. You don't wish harm on another human being. But damn it, this dude has been so inhuman and he displayed it for all to see on Tuesday at the debates.
Yeah.
How?
Well,
Jake, I honestly can't fault. I can't fault someone right now for touting him in this moment. I can't. Twitter is tearing it up. People are going at him hard right now, to the point where Twitter even had to put out a message that says, look, we ban people from stating for wishing death upon someone else. No tweets of wishing death upon someone else. All those tweets will be deleted. And then, of course, Twitter lashes back out at people saying, well, why didn't you do this when people were wishing death upon Obama, when people were wishing death upon Biden, when people were wishing death upon other celebrities? Now that people are wishing death upon Donald Trump, now you want to start enacting your policies, which forced Twitter to come back and respond. We recognize that there's been some inconsistencies with our policy enforcement. So it's like, dude, people are going in on this guy. I literally scowled through Twitter 2 hours before we taped this show, scowled through Twitter to try to find someone being positive or someone taking the high road with this announcement of him having COVID-19 and currently being in the hospital. I looked high and low through Twitter, Jake. I didn't find it. I found every tweet about you brought this upon yourself. Every tweet about karma is a bitch. Every tweet about you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I found no compassion. I didn't even find any compassion from his own constituents. They're still out there on the campaign trail for this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's why didn't no one make a big stink when Trump called for the death penalty on the Central Park Five, who were completely innocent, by the way. I mean, that's just, I was gonna start just like listing off examples of Trump actively wishing death upon people, but there's too many, and it's just not worth it.
And it's only an hour show.
The point is clear. I mean, it's clear. This man has been dangerous. This man has been horrible. Obviously, we don't wish death upon anyone. But, Trump having COVID is kind of on him. He can't blame anyone but himself. This isn't like, Trump got, an infected toe or something and died. That's not what happened here. This is Trump being a fucking idiot and catching a disease. Bringing it back to the debates there for a minute, which we did a whole show on the debates, which everyone should go listen to, by the way.
Yeah, sporadic debate, because we definitely needed to decompress. It was reactionary, but very poignant.
Yeah, we literally watched it, got together, and did a show, which, by the way, I think we're going to be doing that again on Wednesday for the vice presidential ones, and it'll be posted on Thursday, so definitely keep an eye out for that. But back to the debates for a second, because originally that's probably what we were gonna spend a little bit of time on the debates again. We've gotten some time to mull it over and think about it, and that's what this show is gonna be. Obviously things transpired a bit. Now that we've had some time to think about the debates and things have changed, what do you think of those debates now, Cory?
I don't think any different. I don't think any differently of them. It was a show of unprofessionalism. It was a Schitt's Creek show. It really was. And there is you can't even dive into some of the points that were made during the debates, because you really couldn't hear or understand what some of the points that were being made. There's a clear, I thought it was interesting that afterwards, both sides were stating that, it was a clear victory for their campaign. The next very day, when Trump was getting ready to head out to another rally the day after the debates, and which he probably at that time knew he had coronavirus. And there are reports that said that even the day after the debates, he looked a little lethargic. When he headed out to another rally of a couple of hundred people, he stopped outside of Marine One, which I love when he does that. Stop outside a spinning up helicopter to talk to reporters. I mean, you can't hear anything. It's just all helicopter. And he was asked about the Proud Boys. And he tried to distance himself by saying, I don't know who the Proud Boys are. You're going to have to explain to me who they are. Dude, you clearly know who they are because it rolled off your tongue like me saying Jake Woods.
True.
So he tried to distance himself from that, but yet he still, even when asked to denounce white supremacy the day after the debates, he still refused to.
What he said was, I denounce, I denounce all of it. You could tell he was like trying to appease the journalists while also not pissing off the white supremacists, because he knows the white supremacists are a big voting base for him, and he doesn't want to lose that. And the Proud Boys went on Twitter and online
immediately,
and they were like bashing him because he said he disavowed them, but he didn't even really. It was a half-ass attempt.
The Washington Post just released just tweeted literally 45 minutes ago an interactive guide to who's who at the Rose Garden Super Spreader event, and that they're time stamping that as the moment that Trump contracted coronavirus, and they have a whole list of people who were there and people that are there that have tested positive since being there. But on the debates, dude, my thought, the way that I feel about it has not changed. I'm just hoping, and this is why I'm such a double mind right now. I'm hoping that Biden is okay, not because I want him to win the election, but just because he's Biden. He's Uncle Joe. You know what I mean? I feel that he is relatable. I feel connected to him just as another human being. And I can't help but think about the tragedy that his life has suffered, through his years of being in politics, him losing his son, him losing his wife in his first wife in a car accident. And I would hate for this to come down the pike as being something more that he has to overcome. I can't say honestly that I feel that same way about Rump. And you know what? The fact that I can't say that bothers me. It bothers me that I can't come out and say, I don't want him to have to, I don't want to see him suffer. It hurts me humanely, it hurts me, and spiritually it challenges me to not be able to say emphatically that I would hate to see him suffer in this, because when I think of him, I can't think of anything positive at all, especially for when it comes to white supremacy and him standing up for the rights of African Americans. I can't. And that's a problem for me.
I feel differently because I'm not bothered by it one bit. Fuck that guy. I don't wish harm on anyone though, but also fuck him.
But a lot of people are saying that, man. A lot of people social media is riddled with everybody with that same expression. Fuck that dude. That's what a lot of people are saying. And I'm challenged by the fact that I can't emphatically disagree with them. I can't emphatically disagree with you right now. And I should, because at the end of the day, it is another human.
Yep. So was Hitler. So
good point.
So, as far as the debates go, my opinion on the debate and the upcoming debates, maybe.
The vice president.
Well, we've got those, and we were supposed to have 2 more next week as well.
No. I think they're a week out. I think they're 2 weeks apart. I don't think the next presidential debate is till like the middle of October.
Right. It's not next week. Next week is the vice president, or this week is the vice presidents, and then next week is supposed to be the 2 other presidential. Yeah,
the second presidential debate is scheduled for Thursday, October 15th. Of course, it would be a fucking Thursday.
Yeah. Fat Guy Radio Show.
Yeah, I will be taping my show at that time. Or
you guys can live stream the debates and watch it live.
Fat Guy Radio Show is not the place for political topics. That's why I do this show.
But I think personally, it's easy to say neither person won that debate. That first one. Let's pretend that Trump didn't have COVID. Let's go back to then, okay? Let's pretend we don't know about Trump's COVID.
Everybody get into the imagination bus.
Let's pretend Trump doesn't have COVID yet. We're just talking about that debate. I'm an undecided voter. I think I watch that and I see Trump acting like a fool, making fun of Joe Biden's son. And I think Biden wins that debate just because of how poorly Trump did in that debate. And then he gets COVID, which changes the context of that debate, I'd say. Because Trump had the goal several times to make fun of Biden for wearing a big mask, wearing a mask too much, not having big crowds.
Standing far away from people.
His whole family was sitting in front of him, not wearing a mask. He walked in without a mask.
He had it in his pocket.
Yeah. I've got a mask right here. I kind of like it.
It wasn't even his official presidential mask either, because it didn't have the presidential seal on it.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I hope these aren't the panties. I hope these aren't.
I did see someone tweet out that COVID grabbed the president by the pussy.
Oh, you know what?
The tweets are horrible, man.
Speaking of that, I prefer my presidents don't have coronavirus. If you remember Trump talking about McCain, saying he prefers his war heroes not be captured.
Yeah, he did. How could, dude?
Well, I prefer my presidents don't have coronavirus.
I prefer my presidents not to be racist.
As far as the next 2 debates, I think Joe Biden just wins them by default because they're not going to be happening now. I know he's supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks before he can do anything, but I don't think he's going to recover in 2 weeks. I'm not saying he's going to die, nor would I wish that. But even still, I don't know if he's going to recover in just 2 weeks. As an old man, I think it's going to take him at least a month to get over it. Even
the young people, because since the colleges have opened back up, Jake, there's been a surge in young people testing positive for the coronavirus, and the median age for hospitalizations has shifted from older individuals to younger individuals. But here's the thing. Once they do recover from the coronavirus, there's been many documented cases where months and months after recovering from the coronavirus, people are still struggling and trying to get their legs back under them, per se, from having the coronavirus and beating it. So and the medical industry doesn't really know what all after effects are coming. They did learn that the antibodies that are left in your body after you do recover from the coronavirus, they weren't staying around as long as they had originally thought that they were around, which is now affecting the reinfection rate. So even 2 weeks now, given his age, given his weight, if he does also, I don't think it's going to be 2 weeks either.
Am I mistaken in thinking that you're supposed to quarantine 2 weeks after your final symptom?
I thought it was 14 days.
Just after you.
Not even quarantine, 14 days of isolation after you, because remember the definition between quarantine and the definition between quarantine and isolation has been clearly drawn. The line has been drawn in the sand. You quarantine if you have a risk of exposure. You isolate if you've tested positive. So he should be at least in isolation for 14 days.
Well, hold on here. Then why does his tweet say he's immediately going for his 2-week quarantine?
Because that was a tweet before they threw oxygen up his ass when he couldn't breathe.
Actually, I think we are flipping the words. I think quarantine is when you have it. Isolation is when you're... No, it's the same thing. It means the same thing. It's literally like, what is the definition? Hold on. I'm
Googling it right now. You keep
quarantine.
Talking. Isolation separates sick people with a contagious disease from people who are not sick. Quarantine separates and restricts the movement of people who were exposed to a contagious disease to see if they become sick. So we had it right. I had it right. You had it wrong. I had it right. You had it wrong.
Hold on, though. The Webster's dictionary definition of quarantine.
We're not going by that. We're going by COVID-19's CDC definition.
Now, this gets muddy, though, because it's a state, period, or place of isolation.
Oh, Jake.
In which people or animals that have arrived from elsewhere or been exposed to infectious contagious disease are placed.
Well, you're right.
Many animals die in quarantine.
You're right. I'm right. Let's get it on. In the definition from the CDC, quarantine versus isolation. Isolation separates sick people with a contagious disease. Quarantine separates and restricts movement of people who were exposed to a contagious disease. So the exposure is the separator in instances of the Rona.
Well, Trump has the Rona. Things are constantly changing. I feel like all day today I've been looking at my phone and there's been new things. Chris Christie this morning.
I fear for Chris Christie.
Constituents. And
that dude is too fat and too jovial to have this.
Well, I'm just waiting for Mitch McConnell, dude. Mitch McConnell looks like he's going to keel over anyway.
Yeah, but we need to make sure that we're protecting Pelosi. She looks as fragile as some wet rice paper.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to get sick. But,
President Pelosi coming soon, January 2021. President Pelosi.
I can't stand her, but yeah. So the news is probably going to change substantially. I know, like this post on Monday, we're recording it, on Saturday. So like, who the fuck knows what's going to change? Trump could be dead.
Yeah,
but on Monday.
But let's look at the good thing, because I have never refreshed my Twitter feed more than I have in the past 48 hours. But let's look at some really good news here, Jake.
Okay.
Shirtless Lenny Kravitz wows on cover of Men's Health. Woohoo!
Oh my God.
Good mercy. Good night, nurse. Jake, you cannot look at that and tell me that that's not beautiful.
That looks photoshopped to hell.
Of course it's photoshopped, but it's still beautiful. Oh, Lenny Kravitz there.
I guess.
You have to, but you have to remember back when he was performing. When he was performing and his Lenny Kravitz popped
like a
out.
Fish.
And you don't remember when he was performing and his Lenny Kravitz popped out with his pants split?
Yeah, I remember that.
There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Lenny Kravitz. And
what's he holding? A door?
A surfboard.
Oh.
A surfboard on the cover of Men's Health. So when I look through my Twitter handle, it's literally, I'll read this live. Trump remains at Walter Reed Hospital after testing positive. President Trump was administered supplemental oxygen at the White House before going to the hospital. Shirtless Lenny Kravitz wows on cover of Men's Health. That's literally, oh Lord, and Tyga has an OnlyFans account. Who is Tyga? Is that black rapper?
Yeah.
Oh, and Rihanna's Savage X Fenty show featured some sexy celebrity cameos. That thing I told you to watch on Amazon Prime.
Oh, here we go. Tyga's penis pic leaked as he promotes OnlyFans account. Why would they use that word? Penis.
Well, what else are they gonna say?
Dick pic? Or nude photo? Or
his peen pic? That's not the first time Tyga's peen has leaked out. Holy cheese, I just scrolled up and saw it. Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, you don't have to. Here, I have it for you. There you go.
Damn! What a fucking hog!
makes you feel bad about yourself, doesn't it, Jake?
No wonder he started at OnlyFans. That is
that's a missile silo in his pants.
Damn.
That is a fucking missile silo.
Holy shit.
I'll be crying. I'll be crying in the corner.
I need to go isolate after that one. Well,
somebody put up this image as a reaction. SpongeBob leaning up against a coral, just like, whoo. Wow.
That's really why Trump was out of breath, is because he saw that picture.
He saw Tyga's dick pic. Holy monkey.
Well, before we end the show, I'd like to say, we don't hope anyone, any harm. We hope everyone gets through this okay. If you perceived anything that we said as that, well, that's on you. We definitely didn't say that.
No.
The vice presidential debates are happening on Wednesday. I wonder if they're still going to happen in the same capacity as they were before. I wonder if they're going to move it to like a Zoom call sort of deal. I don't know. I think that would probably be within everyone's best interest. We will see. We didn't even get to talk about...
sorry, go ahead.
We didn't even get to talk about, I know you hate football, but it looks like football's about to just close down. Cam Newton tested positive for COVID-19. So what happened with football, and this is just a very quick aside, because Trump bragged about bringing back football, by the way. But this is a very quick aside. I saw people saying, if someone gets COVID, they're going to treat that as an injury. But if someone gets COVID on the team, does that not mean the entire team was exposed? It's not like someone breaking an ankle and everyone's exposed to a broken ankle.
Right. And remember that they are able to spread the disease 5 to 7 days before they get a positive test. So if he was around that team within 5 to 7 days prior to him testing positive, there is a potential that he has infected that entire team. And if none of them were wearing masks, or a few of them were wearing masks, and masks don't help you when you're like right in a room with someone that has it. So you have to if the person that has it is not wearing a mask and you are, there's still a higher probability of you. And the players and in the NFL, Jake, I am a little bit knowledgeable of this. It's not just the players, the staff of the staff members of the NFL have contracted it as well.
The players aren't wearing masks, you know, like none of them are.
Dude, they should be. You look at how the NBA did it right. Why can't people just look at the NBA? Soon as those players were done dribbling that ball and they went off that court, they had masks on. Yep. Why? The NBA did it right. We did not have any breakouts in the NBA bubble. Not one. Even when they opened it up for the playoffs and the finals that are happening now, they opened it up for some fans, family fans, and people, and there's still no outbreak. How come the NBA is able to do this properly under the power of the mouse, Disney, but then the NFL and the NHL and the MLB are just fumbling it?
I think with the NFL, it's just the sheer amount of people that are involved with just one team, you know?
That's true. One team has
so many people.
What, 50,000 people on it?
Yeah, and then all the staff, and then the cameramen, the crewmen. Like, football is just, it's a sport of many, many people. So I don't know what they were even thinking bringing it back. They could have just delayed the season or just
Trump bought him back.
The season until next year.
Trump bought him back. The miraculous, all-powerful hand of Trump.
Yeah, he brought back college ball.
And you know what? And if it's happening in the NFL, and what sucks is I was sad to hear on local media here that Friday Night Lights are back, meaning that high school football is back. So we're waiting to see how that's going to play. I mean, come on. And Jake, if this isn't already nauseating, I'm going to show you what I just saw on Twitter. This, Jake, is the crowd of people gathered in Staten Island to wish Trump a speedy recovery. They're gathered shoulder to shoulder,
no masks in sight,
to wish him a speedy recovery. Dude, a massive crowd sending get well soon wishes to
the irony.
Yeah. They just screamed, "Get well soon, President Trump."
The irony of that, dude.
God damn.
Dude, Trump supporters are they're so smooth-brained.
Wow.
Anyway, we're not going to be posting a show on Monday. We're going to be posting a show this Thursday. Also, if you want to watch the vice presidential debates live with me, go over to twitch.tv/Lonercast. I will be watching them live. And then post-show, we will probably be doing the post-show live as well. And the podcast will be posted the next day. So definitely check that out. Check out the video game podcast. We do that every Tuesday. Interesting stuff. And with that, stay safe out there. Don't go to these rallies. What the fuck are you thinking?